Hi, welcome to the Lawcast. My name is Melanie and I'm a solicitor at MJT Law. Today we are looking at, again, season 1 of Suits. This is episode 4 called Dirty Little Secrets. This is Mike's first court appearance. What he's doing is he's going to what they call a magistrate's court, and it's about a rent situation. So let's just see how this goes.
Carbarello versus Karinsky Properties.
Now that's true. The associate or the bailiff will go outside the courtroom into the foyer and will call out the names of the next people that need to be sitting there at those desks. Normally you have some idea about what the who's going to go next, what the list looks like, because you've already been there earlier that day to get that list. And you can see there's a bunch of people sort of wandering around the back, kind of looking at stuff, and that's probably pretty normal, except all those kind of jibber-jabbing was probably going to be done outside. Now, Mike is sitting down with his client, and let's see what happens.
So how does this usually work?
Well, usually the trial starts and there's a judge, and then, people say things.
You've never done this before, have you?
He has not. Okay. It's not very convincing for your client if you are that nervous. What would normally happen is you would normally, before you go into the courtroom, kind of brief your client on what's going to happen and what to expect. They would normally sit down with you, you'd tell them to remain quiet, you'd get yourself sorted out. But Mike has just given his client some type of really weird answer.
Well, I never drove a car before the first time I drove one, and I'm still here, aren't I?
This is your first time? I'm your first? Don't worry, I promise not to be gentle.
Right. Okay, so this is the solicitor on the other side having a chat to Ross while they are sitting there waiting for the judge. Now, the weird thing about this is they've already been called up. So the judge is almost certainly already sitting there. But in this case, it doesn't appear to be so. You would be properly silent if there was a judge sitting there. And in this next little bit of the scene, we've got the other side's client kind of leaning back on his chair, having a wee chat to the other side's client. Okay. I call bullshit. That's never going to happen. You would be instructing your client to remain properly silent. But here we go.
It's nice to see it. One last time.
If it pleases the court...
It pleases the court to decide who speaks and when.
That's true. The judge will normally ask for appearances. You would normally, if you're the applicant, in this case that's Ross's client, so Ross would be standing, and he would say, if it pleases the court, my name, if it was me, it would be, my name is Thorley, Thorley, initials MJ. I'm a solicitor at MJT Law and I'm acting for the applicant today. And you would sit straight down. The other side would stand up, they would say something similar, obviously it would be their name, and they would keep going. But in this case, it's a little more informal.
I'll sit down.
We're talking about $4,000 in withheld rent payments?
Yes, Your Honor, but we have receipts for repairs, lost clothing, as well as...
$4,000, yes, Your Honor. She was talking to me.
Why hasn't he paid, counselor?
That one was for you.
Bed bugs, Your Honor. I have receipts that show my client's financial outlay to rectify the problem far exceeds the amount.
Housing department certified the presence of bed bugs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Abatement?
Oh, okay, so in this scene, Ross is about to hand up something, and he's basically just kind of wandering around to the front of the table. He's handing something up to the associate or bailiff, and this is completely strange stuff happening here. This has never happened. The bailiff would jump up, or the associate would jump up. They would come around, they would take the stuff from you, they would give it to the judge. You would not be moving from behind that table whatsoever. And you certainly wouldn't be, as in this scene, taking the material from the other side without them actually indicating they want that taken. Crazy.
Your Honor, this is an eviction hearing. The pertinent question is not habitability, but whether or not rent has been paid.
Actually, city code states that rent may
Again,
be withheld if the warranty...
What would normally happen is the Ross would be sitting down because the other side is standing and talking. When they're finished talking, they would sit down and he would stand up and he would say something, but not before the court would actually ask him a question. So this is completely unrealistic.
of habitability is breached.
In that case, we request to see the checks Mr. Ross's client has placed in escrow.
The
Checks in escrow, pending the outcome of a rent abatement hearing.
That's not in the code.
It is the accepted practice.
And therefore binding in this courtroom.
What? The accepted practice, which is now binding in a courtroom? Okay, it's a bit of like, I'm going to allow this. It's not. What? Okay, so what's happened there is the other side have said, blah, 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 and this is accepted practice, so you have to follow it. And the judge has agreed with her. Okay, accepted practice or not, it would almost certainly never happen that an accepted practice is binding in a court. But let's see how Ross handles this.
Your client did put money in escrow, I assume.
Now
Do you have any money?
the solicitors are talking to each other while they are at the table. What? Okay, so none of this would ever happen.
Eviction upheld.
But Your Honor,
Did you see me bang the gavel?
Ah!
That means step aside.
Okay, it's not unusual for a judge to just basically cut off a solicitor and basically tell them to shut up and sit down. That's particularly, I like it, good thumbs up there. But banging a gavel, what? We don't have this here in Queensland, and I don't know anywhere they do have it in Australia. This is a civil courtroom. This is not an auction house. There is no banging of gavels. There is no gavel. So yeah, I call bullshit on that one. But yes, the judge has made a decision. You can't convince the judge otherwise once they've done that decision. We'll see how this goes.
You never forget your first.
That's true. For most lawyers, their first appearance is almost certainly going to be a horrifying experience with which they will remember for their entire lives. Court is incredibly stressful. There is a crazy number of court protocols that one has to follow, and you as the solicitor, doesn't matter how junior you are expected to know those court protocols. Ross has failed miserably here by not knowing how to do things. It's a real shame, poor Ross, but yes, you will never forget your first time. And I think this is the end. He gets teased a little bit later on for losing.
You know what happens to pitchers when they get shelled in rookie league, Mike? You think they make it to the bigs? Or do they just end up on some sad American Legion team of has-beens?
I get it. I lost. I'm sorry.
Right, so he lost in court in a very, very easy space to win. Now, I think it was probably stacked against him. He didn't really know what he was doing. It wasn't really very helpful. And now Lewis Litt is giving him a ringing out. Unusually though, in this scene, Ross is pretending to work. He's got papers in front of him, he's got his head down, he's got his pen in his paper. Dude, if a partner and a named partner is talking to you, you're putting your pen down and you are taking those lumps. You are agreeing with everything they say, you are apologising, and you are moving towards grovelling as much as you possibly can. Well, everyone, thank you very much for watching. I call bullshit. Some of that was real. I might give it a star rating of 2.5 out of 5. Probably half of it was probably okay, but real. I don't like the way they jibber jab to each other in the while they're in court, and I don't like the way the judge is jibber jabbing to them in court either. But they done and dusted. It was really quick, and that was what we would have expected in that sort of court. And Ross is feeling adequately contrite that he lost. So I hope you all enjoyed today's session of Suits episode 4, Dirty Little Secrets, with Ross's first court appearance. Thanks for watching the Lawcast.